Good morning, saints and scholars.
Today is Friday, March 27th, and we made it through another week of learning while in quarantine. Miss Lakata and I were at the school building today, and it just made us miss everybody that much more. It was nice to be able to see a teacher friend, and it was nice getting back to the classroom and cleaning everything up and trying to make life feel normal. But we really do miss everybody, and we are very thankful that we only have one more month to go until we can be together again in school. On Fridays during Lent, we typically do something called Stations of the Cross. Normally, that takes place in a church or in a chapel where you actually walk around the perimeter or the inside of the church and you look at either statues or paintings that tell the story of Good Friday, which is the day that Jesus died on the cross. Now, usually when we're together in school, our lovely middle schoolers will help us read all those stations, and then we kneel and we say prayers. But the whole point of it all is really reflecting on the journey Jesus took right before he died. Now, there is a way to do it at home since we can't go anywhere. We can't be at school together, and we probably can't even go to a church. So I found a really great video on Stations of the Cross, and it really is a great way of helping us visualize Jesus' journey on that Good Friday, the day that he died. Participating in or just reading or looking at the Stations of the Cross is not always an easy thing. It's really hard for me personally to really think about a person that we love so much in pain and anguish. But the reason we do it is because we need to realize what Lent really is all about. Jesus suffered immensely and died for us. He unlocked the gates of heaven so we can have the chance of going to heaven someday too. It's not easy to think about, it's not easy to look at the pictures, but we do it because we know it's the right thing to do for us as Catholics, and we want to be able to take that journey with Jesus so we can really understand what he went through so we can get to heaven.
The Stations of the Cross, especially for children. Stations are places where people wait while they're going from one place to another. A school bus stop is like a station. People wait at train stations or bus stations or airports. You might want to think about some stations where you have been. Stations of the Cross are places where people take time to think about Jesus as he went to die. Each station shows us how much Jesus loved us. Let's go to each of these stations together right now. At the first station, Jesus is standing before angry people who are yelling and saying mean, hurtful things to him. They scream at him. Some of them tell lies about him, saying that he did bad things. But Jesus stays quiet, even though he knows that he will be hurt. He knows that God is with him. He even asks God to help him forgive the people who are yelling and telling lies about him. When the soldiers put a big heavy cross on Jesus' shoulders, Jesus doesn't fight with them or say angry words to them. He knows that he has to carry this cross a long way, and he knows that the way will be very hard for him at times. But Jesus also knows that God is with him, and he asks God to help him to carry this cross, even though it is very heavy. At the third station, Jesus falls for the first time. Jesus is so tired as he walks along the road with the heavy cross on his shoulders. The cross keeps pushing into his shoulder, and the stones on the road hurt his feet. People yell and push him. The soldiers shout for him to move faster. Then Jesus falls, and the soldiers yell at him more. How tired Jesus is. Jesus prays in his heart, God, help me remember that you are here. The fourth station, Jesus meets his mother. As Jesus walks slowly with the cross on his shoulders, a woman comes up to him. It's Jesus' mother, Mary. How sad for them to see each other now. Mary feels so sad because she sees how much he is suffering, and Jesus sees the sadness Mary feels. Even though they both know that God is with them, they can't even say anything to each other because they are both so sad. At the 5th station, a man named Simon helps Jesus carry his cross. Jesus is so tired that the soldiers know he cannot carry the heavy cross by himself, so they look around and see someone who looks strong enough to help Jesus carry this cross. This person's name is Simon. Jesus just looks at Simon and quietly whispers, "Thank you." Then they continue on the long road, carrying the cross together. At the 6th station, a woman, Veronica, wipes Jesus' face. Jesus is very hot, tired, and sweating. His hair is all tangled, and he is covered in dust from the long walk. Suddenly, a woman pushes her way out of the crowd and stands in front of Jesus. She takes a clean cloth and gently wipes Jesus' face. Jesus is so thankful that he leaves a picture of his face on her cloth. At the 7th station, Jesus falls for a second time. How very tired, weak, and sad Jesus is now. Even though he keeps trying to walk with the heavy cross, he just can't keep going. The noise from the crowd and from the soldiers makes him feel even worse. Then Jesus falls because he just can't take another step. At the 8th station, Jesus meets women who are crying. After Jesus gets up, he continues on the road carrying his heavy cross. He passes some women who are crying because they are so sad to see Jesus suffer. But instead of thinking only of himself and how bad he feels, Jesus tells the women not to keep crying because of him. He tells them instead to take care of others, and especially to take care of their children. At the 9th station, Jesus falls for a 3rd time. Jesus is so tired now that he can hardly take another step. It is hard for him to breathe. He has been walking a long time along the dusty road, and he has no energy left. He just can't go on anymore. Then Jesus falls down in the street for the 3rd time. He is so very tired. Jesus asks God to help him, and Jesus gets up again, even though it is hard for him to do. At the 10th station, Jesus' clothes are taken away. Finally, Jesus reaches the hill that is the end of the road he has to walk. Jesus knows that he will die here, but before he dies, the soldiers will do more to him. They pull off his long robe, and almost all of his clothes are taken from him. Jesus stands in front of the crowd with only a small piece of cloth covering part of his body. Jesus asks God to help him remember that he's not alone, that God is with him through all of this. At the 11th station, Jesus is nailed to a cross. How much Jesus hurts as the soldiers nail him to the cross. He hurts all over. He is tired and thirsty. He knows that he is going to die, but he looks at the people who have hurt him, and instead of saying bad things to those people, Jesus asks God to forgive them. He looks at his mother and tells her to take care of others. Even when he is dying, Jesus is thinking of other people. At the 12th station, Jesus dies on the cross. Finally, after the long walk, after falling 3 times, after having the men beat him, after being nailed to the cross and suffering on the cross, Jesus bows his head and dies. Now this part of his life is over. There is nothing left for Jesus to give or to do. Jesus has given his life for all of us. At the 13th station, Jesus is taken down from the cross. As Jesus' lifeless body is taken down from the cross, no more pain or suffering for Jesus. All the pain is over. Mary, Jesus' mother, holds him tenderly in her arms. How sad she is. And how sad Jesus' friends are. They are crying as they hold his body. At the 14th station, Jesus is buried. Jesus' friends wash his body and wrap it in a clean sheet. They touch his body gently, and then they put his body into a tomb. When they are finished, they push a very large stone over the entrance so that no one can go inside. Now there is darkness in the tomb where Jesus' body lies, and all of his friends go home because they are very sad and tired. Now we arrive at the 15th station. What a wonderful surprise for his friends when they see that he is alive. His body is like a new kind of body, full of light, and he is no longer tired, sad, or suffering. He has no more pain. Yes, he is alive in a new and special way. Jesus will live forever now in this new and special way. Jesus is raised from death. Jesus is alive. As you go through each of the stations of the cross, think about what Jesus might be feeling. Also, think about times in your life where you might feel sad or hurt or tired or angry, and understand everything that Jesus did for us, and then consider what a great gift it is that Jesus is alive.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a great weekend, everybody.